Hello and welcome back to my channel, Tarot with AnneMarie. Tonight we're going to look at tarot pairs using that minor arcana card. The swords are difficult. The suit is the most important thing. Matters of communication. It's how we're thinking, speaking to ourselves. It's how we're talking to others. It's how others are having an impact when they are conversing with us. My name is Tarot with AnneMarie, and every week we look at a card on Thursday and then we show you how to combine that card. The card we've been looking at is the Six of Swords, belonging to the air family. And so that is Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius, the Chariot and the Six of Swords. Both of these cards, notice, are about journeys. The Chariot is on the road journey, and the Six of Swords is a passage, maybe a rite of passage, but it's a passage across the water. Both tell us that we are moving. Remember the suit, swords, mentally. We're going to look at this as if somebody has asked, what's happening to me? If we got this pair, we'd say, you are getting help, spiritual help, spiritual advice that comes from the divine will come in something that is going to help us emotionally, because we've got the Chariot helping us move on. We've got two movement cards, and also to help us ease that mental pressure. So we may be leaving something behind, something that has been troubling us, leaving our troubles behind and moving in a positive direction. Chariot is a card of willpower. It's connected to the dispatch of things. It's also linked to the astrological sign of Cancer. Cancerian aspect of where it is in your placement will help you with timings. There's all sorts of different techniques, and if you want to learn about timings, you do need to look at my courses where in the advance we go through very specific methods of how you can tell when something is going to happen. There's two different places specifically for timing. Makes it really easy. If you know your cards, and you'll be able to do that instantly. There is also a third method that I teach you in the advanced. Now, I'm not going to do that here because that's another story. We are looking at is how can we combine cards. If you are combining cards, you can do what you like, of course. Some people use the second card as a clarification from a different deck, or they will use an oracle card or something, angel card, whatever. But what I'm talking about is being able to use a method where you shuffle your deck after dividing up your major arcana in one pile and your minor arcana in the second pile. Therefore, for every time you want to read question, you are going to use a pair to form the answer. If you are going to give professional readings, and that's what I'm here to teach you, if you don't want to do that, fine, you can incorporate it anyhow you like, take what you want, but we're taking it right up there so somebody would hire you as a professional reader because you've got the capacity to be able to provide a time duration tarot reading such as being able to say, you can do 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40, 60, whatever. Spiritual direction, moving in a positive direction to do with home. Why would it be something to do with home? The Chariot card. So in this case, let's say somebody's saying, what's happening for me? How am I going to progress? And so let's say that in the spread that you are looking in the position of the person that's having the reading, and we are looking at them in their physical self, the soul. This person's saying, what's going to happen? And they say, oh, in the next 3 to 6 months or year, whichever you can do for me. And you say, off we go. What you can say is, I feel that you're moving on. I feel that you're leaving behind a lot of mental woes. I feel that you are being guided to do that. Being guided is coming from the Chariot. The stresses mentally are coming from the Six of Swords that they are leaving behind. We're not pulling an immediate answer to say it's over right now because the Six of Swords have not completed their journey. Do you see? So it's on the way to getting better. Talking about a passage away, probably from our domestic life, because we've got the Chariot affecting the person. Physically means this is something that's happening. I want to get that clear. Even though we've got Six of Swords being affecting the mental and the communication, so that's how the mind's working, the communication. We've got it in the physical self. So this pair tells us about what they're going to do, and it tells us in which places, i.e. the element, Chariot's the element of their emotions. It's also the fourth house in astrology, which links to domestic matters. It's also Cancer, which relates to domestic matters. And it's also about willpower. So it's the willpower. Where do we get that from? The Chariot, if you look at our charioteer, that fellow hasn't got any reins. But that chariot is being drawn by a black and white sphinx, and he has nothing but what looks like a wand in his hand and no reins. So sheer willpower and determination is causing that chariot to get on the road and move. And that's where we get movement, get on the road. Don't miss out on the absolute obvious. The chariot is anything to do with journeys by road. And the Six of Swords, of course, is to do with movement mentally, but also boats and water and emotions. Emotions in the Six of Swords because of the amount of water and the fact that it's being shown on the right side of the boat is that turbulent side, and then there's that smoother, calmer, clear sheets of water on the left side of the boat. They're not there yet. They're on their way. So that's what you're saying. You're on your way too. You haven't arrived yet. It's not showing them getting off that boat. Hasn't showed them arriving at their destination. Another one, High Priestess. Well, beautiful card. All right, what's happening to me in the next 3 to 6 months? Could you help me? You pull out the High Priestess. If you just had that card, if you said, oh, I think you're psychic, I think you're very intuitive, I think there's a secret going to be revealed to you. About what? Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's in your physical self. Must be happening now. Well, no, because the High Priestess says the opposite. The High Priestess is telling you this will be revealed to you in the future. So how do we read this? Let's feed the energy of the Six of Swords into the High Priestess. So we know a little bit about the person, the current having the reading, and we know that they are quite intuitive and quite sensitive, and that they are somebody that people probably come to because they feel that they are going to get some beautiful, pure, impartial advice. A High Priestess is a bit like going to an organization, but the difference is when we go to the High Priestess, we go to the High Priestess because we want to and because we feel we want to. Simple as that. It's because it fulfills something in us. So our client is the High Priestess. Feeding the Six of Swords tells us that our client, who is the person that everybody probably goes to because they feel comfort, they feel that they're very black and white, they feel that they're getting impartial advice, they feel good around that person. But our client themselves has had to move on. They've had to change something. And they're on that journey right now. And it's a journey of how they are talking to themselves. So let's say that this was somebody that said, really, there's an awful lot going on. And what I really want to know is, am I going in the right spiritual direction right now? And is my spiritual business going to take off? This is a card where you'd say you are gifted as the High Priestess because it's a very psychic card. And you're moving that along. Are you going to progress? Absolutely. In your spiritual journey, are you going in the right direction? Yes, look at the Six of Swords. That knowledge is academic, i.e. it's things that have been told to them. So the Six of Swords in this case could be mentally somebody's helping them navigate and move on. Their understanding of how they get to where they want to be in their spiritual life or their spiritual business. They're moving on because of swords and how am I getting on? But they're going to start doing it because it's in the physical. They're going to have the mental capacity to be able to achieve that, but they'll probably need someone else. That's what they are up to now. That's where they are. That's the stage in their journey. They're being psychic. They're being guided. Matters. The high priestess is much more about intuitive matters, but it also tells us an aspect of the person that's having the reading. A high priestess, it's part of them. We're all psychics, whether or not we listen. They're listening. Not only that, someone is helping them get there. Someone's giving them that mental knowledge in their communication. So it might be somebody who's a teacher, might be somebody that has shared something or given some recommendation about how they got there. Well, I've done this course. It was brilliant. And that's how I ended up working in the way that I am with my psychic and spiritual side of the business. It's really about what is the question and where is the position and what suit in the minor arcana. But don't forget what the major card is telling you. It's really important. I'm going to do this one. We've got the Empress and the Six of Swords. So the person again is saying, how am I going to get on? And so you could say, looking there, I feel you need to value yourself. And they go, spot on. What's going wrong with me? So straight away, you've made a connection and they're probably going to tell you, I do need to value myself. Do you know what? And this is why I picked this one. Do you know what? I am really struggling at my own self-care. And my waistline is expanding. And I'm not happy. And everything and anything that I've been doing, just simply, I put other things first, or I've just not been in the right frame of mind. So if this came up, and this was the Empress, which is the current, the client, you'd say, self-care, loving yourself, looking after yourself, healthily, as we can see the background of the Empress there. And that would also indicate that this person would do really well to be able to have a good variety in their nutrition and for it to be as much as it's possible to do that things are made from scratch, because the Empress it's very pure and we've got nutrition coming from the land. Look at the lay of the land. You've got that corn growing there. You've got that lot seen behind the sun, causing everything to grow, for everything to harvest, for everything to be abundant. You've got the green there. Getting the support from the universe is coming in from that green behind her. So what you'd probably say here is, well, you need some help with this. I'm really unhappy about the fact that I'm not looking after myself, and I really know I've got to put myself first. I don't know what to do. The Six of Swords tells you that they will progress in what they're asking, but they're not there yet. But it also tells us that they need, just like when we see those figures in the boat, 3 of them, we need some help. We need the ferryman. We may be the one that needs the ferryman in this case. Who could be a teacher? There's probably several, right? But let's look at the fact that one of the teachers would be, and the most obvious one, a Hierophant. Why? Because the Hierophant links to organizations, and the organizations could be schools, colleges, universities, places where, like hospitals, where we can train to have our vocation as whatever your job is, a nurse or a radiographer or a doctor or a surgeon or whatever. Those kind of places, or where we can learn our craft in an organisation by the government. Remember when I was at school, people used to go off and do, I don't know what they called it, some sort of YTS at the time, which really what it meant was if you are a youth, you are training and you are shadowing someone to see what the job is all about. And those are people that are teaching you various aspects in different ways. So we were talking about the Empress, and there's several different other options that we could have as a teacher. One that I would say is more, it is a teacher, but more of, I would say, a professional advisor would be the Hermit. And of course, then we've got court cards, take your pick. There's lots of different things, but the most obvious would be if you're looking for a teacher, you're looking for the Hierophant. I would tell you about somebody who's a teacher, all right? Why? Because of the organisation. It's the most obvious one of all. So the Empress and the Six of Swords is telling us that she needs to nurture herself, but she needs help. What kind of help does she need? Does she need to go to the gym? Because we've got a movement card in the Six of Swords. But the movement could only be that it's the gym because it's come up in the physical position of the spread. That would give you a clue. But it's in the suit. Look at the suit. It's about communication. So this person who is asking, how can I value myself more and bring my waistline down and look after myself so I get the best out of myself, and I want to lose weight? How can I do it? I don't know what to do. You need help. You need somebody that you can talk to. Why is it talking? Or somebody that's going to give you that information by the written or the verbal. Where is that coming from? It's coming from the swords, because it's about emotional and psychological, all that kind of thing. But this is saying, yes, this is somebody that needs to help you move on with your mindset. That could be something they read. It could be someone they talk to. It could be information. It could be the fact that they go and listen to a group or join a class, or that they are in a group or a class. Physically, possibly, because it's in the physical position. Mentally, yes, somebody that's going to give them that capacity to develop their thinking in a different way. And how are they going to get on? If we look at the jumble behind them on the right, probably been bumpy, looks like plain sailing to some degree if we look at the Six of Swords on the left of the boat. But do remember, as I spoke about in last week's tutorial on Thursday, all about the Six of Swords. And if you've missed that, go in the playlist. You will find it in there. And Tarot, Six of Swords. I've got the playlist for you to find everything if you missed something. Not everybody is around at this time of day to watch everything. I know that. It can be hard. But if you saw that, it really was telling us that the Six of Swords is, we've got the swords in the boat. And that means that even though we are leaving something behind on those choppy waters, then unfortunately, those swords represent the fact that old thinking, and I explain the Six of Swords and I'll explain it again, and that is that those six swords represent how you got to where you are right now. Six is a number of progress, of course, but in order to value yourself, you will probably have to look at your old patterns of thinking. Number one, we have six swords there, and on the right-hand side, got represented three swords clumped together next to the lady that's huddled with the shawl, the golden shawl or the brownish shawl around. That represents the heartache from the past of things not really hurting for her mentally. She's hurting mentally about this. So if she says, oh, I'm really not losing weight, what on earth is going on? It's like from the past. Even though somebody's going to help and direct you when you're going to make progress, you're still carrying those old patterns of thinking with you. They're not, we can't throw them out the boat. That wouldn't be very ethical, but the boat would sink because they're being used to keep the boat watertight. So don't forget, old ways of how we think, our old belief system. Just we can go to the gym, we can go and get advice and help from anywhere, Slimming Club, Weight Watchers, whatever you want to call it. We can go to a specialist, we can go nutritional classes, we can re-educate ourselves. But the old self mentally will still be ticking along. We can see that in the Six of Swords. It'll still be, oh, I'm really into this habit of healthy eating and I'm losing it and it's great. But still, you might turn around and reach for a bigger portion simply because mentally your mind still takes you to habits from the past. Three of Swords. Four of Swords is also represented there because if we look at the 3 and 1 that's slightly lower on the left, almost at the front of the boat, that represents the 4 of Swords, where we just couldn't cope. It was all too much. So we had to just withdraw into ourselves to recoup. It was all too much. And that recoup that's been going on does tell us that's coming with us on the journey as well. Then we've got that good old 2 of Swords. Oh dear. The 2 of Swords. Not being able to make a decision. Remember the 2 of Swords, our figure. If you haven't watched these videos, do go into the playlist about the 2 of Swords. Well, all of the swords. Because the more you understand that as we progress, how it all fits together. So we don't suddenly, do we? We don't suddenly go, I'm going to look after me, I'm going to nurture me, and I'm doing this and this and this and this. And suddenly it's all happening. And we go, oh, I've got the willpower to do it now. You may have. But you are still going to think like you used to. If you get this card, you probably will anyway. We don't suddenly reprogram and leave everything out. We are in a position to be able to say, hey, hang on a minute. That's part of the old me. I forgot for a minute. We've got that. So that indecision. And that indecision could be, I don't know whether to go for this diet. I don't know whether to do healthy eating. I don't know whether to give that up, just proteins, no carbs, or whether I do, oh, I don't know. There's so many, aren't they? I tried that. Oh, the soup diet. No, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. And that indecision of sticking with one thing. Whereas if you like join a class or you join a group or you get a teacher, they'll go, no, just do it this way. That's fine. Not this. They'll give that guidance. They'll help you how to think about your progress. That's what they do. That's why sometimes people do join slimming clubs or Weight Watchers or whatever it is, because they say, I can't do it on my own. And they also need, that support from someone else, being accountable. They're doing it for themselves, but they've made a commitment to say, I'd like to be in your class, please. And you've given me a space. So I've got the courtesy of turning up every week. And if I am having an off day, it's like, what am I going to say this week if I don't make progress? This person would need help. And this is a really good example of nurturing oneself. And I picked the question about weight because you would be surprised how many times people will ask you that question. The other sword I haven't mentioned this far is the Ace of Swords. Now, the Ace of Swords is a good one. Why is it a good one? Because that is your spark of inspiration mentally and how you're going to start communicating to yourself. And it's a double-edged sword. And the double-edged sword will be the old me and the new me. And I've got to make sure I'm aware of both. That's where your Six of Swords would come into anything. But this was a beautiful example of the many sort of questions that you can get asked. And I wanted to talk about the physical position and the journey of moving mentally in our question and what it means to combine a pair. So yes, it can seem complicated, but it's not when you've got it. If you know your cards and you know your position, I'm looking at what they are doing. That's what physical means. What are they doing? Oh, I don't understand. I've got swords. That's not doing. Yes, it is. They're doing the mental stuff. What's the other card? It's how they are, where they're at. Let's do this one. Same question. Let's make it about weight loss. I've joined an organization. I've joined it. I've got a teacher. They're fabulous. There's a whole load of people and I am learning. They're like the Hierophant. It's a bit like you belong to that. And it's not like going to the high priestess for your spiritual advice. You've got to make a commitment to something like the Hierophant. It's stability. It's about turning up probably every day, if it's a school, or every week at least. So you've got some teacher or some guru that is really enlightening you and helping you move your thinking. It may even be, let me think what they call them, motivational speakers. Sometimes people say, let's use an example of, I went to this great speaks, or Tony Robbins, or Mel, any of these, or Oprah. I joined their academy. I joined their school of thought. I am part of an organization here. There is more than just the guru. There is the audience, if you want to call it that, the clients of the guru. You are in some sort of organization, something like a slimming club. I would say this is much more along the lines of it's higher end. As I said, motivational. I'm going to change my life. I've signed up for this and I've paid my money and I'm going to really go for it. And I'm being inspired by this person because they're showing us in different areas of life how you can change your mindset. So that is what this pair could mean if we had our question like I suggested. Interesting, isn't it? How much you can dig. And if we dig, even I see something new. We all do. None of us know everything and don't feel that you must or you should. You never will. Even an expert is only an expert a tiny bit. Remember that. It's like somebody said to me, gosh, you do astrology. Yes, but I'm training to strengthen that muscle. I've used it for years and years, but now I'm really going for it. But I'm not there yet. I am partly trained. I am getting there. It's getting stronger. And I've done this. I've signed up for a guru with a class and a whole community. We'll all turn up. Temperance and Six of Swords. And let's say our person is going back and say, am I all right? What's going on for me? What do I need to know? I wonder if I'm following my correct spiritual compass. And we say to them, you are. But there's a variety here of things that you've done or are doing that are still forming, and you are getting there, and you are mixing and blending something together. And they go, oh gosh, I'm doing tarot and astrology and combining it like that. So that's brilliant. You've got this fusion. You're using the two things together, and that is taking you places. And yes, it is, because when I was only doing astrology or I was only doing tarot, I was getting stuck. I was in, then I'd hit a bump, and then I was in, I'd hit a bump in my thinking, in what I was saying, in how I was forming my conclusions based on my knowledge. Because again, thoughts, it's our knowledge. It's our academic. What are we talking about here when we're looking at temperance? Temperance is a kind of mixing and blending, particularly another travel card. Remember earlier, we talked about the chariot on the road. We've also got the other travel card there, Six of Swords, across the water. So we might drive across the water. We might go on the ferry, mightn't we, taking the car with us? Don't just look at, oh, there's only 3 people there. Think outside the box. It's all symbolic of where we're at. Temperance is linked to Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is long distance travel, higher learning. So, how am I getting on? Am I taking the right path? Yes. Going into higher learning. It's moving you on academically. You're learning more knowledge. Your thinking's different. You're building and strengthening your tarot and your astrology combined. And you are probably exploring something from different cultures. Higher learning, connected to overseas. My point being able to blend and learn things, and temper is combining things we already have. So I'm combining tarot and astrology, which I've always done, but I'm strengthening the astrology by learning a coach system, somebody that mixes and blends a lot of things. He's from another culture. And I always say to you, or we always say, should I say, because it's nice for me to have a rest while others sometimes talk. When I talk when I'm doing this and giving readings, it's really nice to sit back and go, oh, I'd like to take that information in. Just like the Six of Swords. I'm the lady sitting there going, I'm moving on. Struggling a little bit with, how on earth do you put a birth chart together in the Coke system? I can do it in Placidus, but I want to learn the Coke system, and I want to know much more about aspects and transits and conjunct and all these squares and trines, and I know a little, but I don't know as much as I would like, and so that's what I'm exploring. And of course, everyone has their horoscope or their natal chart done, don't they? Because they want to know what's going to happen and how things might pan out, just like they do in tarot. I've already been using that and using that for some time. And this is where you can find the courses for tarot. So if you are interested in something that I've shown you tonight, do my mini courses. They're all on there. And that's an example of learning major cards, the court cards, of course. It's a beautiful one because people do find that difficult. And the advanced, which is part 2. I need to update this video because I've made that so it's perfectly clear that intermediate is part 1 and advanced is part 2. Thank you for having me. I hope that you enjoyed this. I talked about many things tonight, including pairs. Do know that the most important part of getting to be a reader is really know your cards. Don't feel that you've got to do a whole load of meanings. Try and look at how I am breaking down the story or the background of what the symbology is in the card. And every time you'll probably see where it's going. I.e., when we looked at the Hierophant, a teacher, knowing what kind of organization it was. We're not going to a counselor, that would be the Hermit. We're going to the Hierophant. We're going to an organization, some sort of establishment, some sort of authority in there, not just the local sort of little group that's around the corner. And when we are expanding and learning something, always remember temperance is about higher learning. So is Hierophant. So I hope those little tips are going to really help you. Use your island card. Ask questions. Don't feel shy. People sometimes say, oh, can we go back over the devil? Or I don't get the court cards, or I really don't like the swords. Understandable. Just talk to me and we'll try and sort it out. Use the fact that I have helped people in their career as a tarot reader rather than just being a reader myself. Remember, I've put websites together. I've had a platform as Psychics. I've produced DVDs, I've produced a game, I've produced a tarot deck, my own website now, got a YouTube channel now, but I had a YouTube channel back in, I think, 2007 for my old company. You can always go and look at, they are short, Sunny, how that ended up being like that. You can go and have a look and see me doing tarot cards. Just put tarot AnneMarie and you'll probably find a whole load of videos. And I don't look like I do now. Number one, I'm older and a few pounds lighter. But you can look and see how much experience I've gained and what a gift it is to be able to share it with like-minded people. So have a beautiful Tuesday, wherever you are in the world. And do say hi. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Then you can look at the playlist. You can find everything we've done. You can go into the whole library of everything that's there. I'm sure you'll find something there. Go onto my website. Go and look at the courses. There is nothing like them because nobody's gearing you towards a profession. They will, and then they'll leave you to it. Whereas if you look, you saw all the mini courses that I am offering. And it's not just about tarot, it's about the technique, it's about the spread, it's about the position, it's about the astrology, it's about the numerology, it's about the symbology. My little YouTube twice a week is never going to give you what's on those courses. So go and check it out. And there's something in there for everybody. And before I go, so here's a PDF that's on the site if you want to have a look at this. This is just really nice sort of yes and no if that's what you want. Symbology really broken down simply for you. So I try and get you the things that you asked me to, but I know that there's people watching that don't know that I wish it was around when I was scratching and digging and trying to find everything about tarot all those years ago. I'm going. See you soon. Till next time, I'll say bye-bye. And I'll play you out with our usual.